Welcome to the Super Memory for Schools program. My name is Nguyen Như. Today we will learn a new vocabulary lesson of Unit 16 in 10th grade English. That is historical places. And the place that we are talking about today is Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. And with the sketch note here, our lesson includes three main ideas. First, we will talk about the functions of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. Second, we will talk about the relics. And finally, we will talk about the values. Now we will find out about each part in detail. As my introduction in the first part of this lesson, we will learn about the functions of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. Văn Miếu was originally built in 1070 in the Lý Dynasty, and it was a representative of Confucian ways of thought and behavior. Here we have a phrase, representative of Confucian. Representative means a typical example of something. This adjective is stressed on the third syllable and is pronounced as representative. And how about Confucian? Confucian means based on or believing in the ideas of Confucius. Let me give a brief introduction of Confucianism. This is a religion that includes moral, political, and educational ideas of Confucius. Representative of Confucian. Please note that in this period of time, this construction was only called Văn Miếu. And what happened next? 6 years later, Quốc Tử Giám, the first university of Vietnam, was built on the grounds of Văn Miếu. And since this period of time, this build has been called Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám as it is today. And it became a place to memorialize the most brilliant scholars of the nation. Here we have a phrase, memorialize the scholars. Memorialize. This word is stressed on the second syllable and is pronounced as memorialize. So how about scholar? The scholar. People with great knowledge or students who have been given scholarship. And in the context of the past time, scholars count the people of a country. In short, this place is not only the first university of Vietnam, but it is also a place to memorialize talented scholars of our country. So we have just talked about the functions of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. First, it was a representative of Confucian ways. Second, it was the first university of Vietnam. And finally, it became a place to memorialize the scholars of the nation. So let's come to the second main idea of our lesson today. That is the relics. But first of all, what is relic? Relic is an object, a tradition, a system that has survived from the past. And the first famous relic is the stone stele. As you can see, there are many stelae here, and they were engraved with top students' names. The action of cutting letters on stones is called engrave. We have a synonym of engrave, which is carve. They were on the back of giant tortoise. Giant tortoise, 我很老. And tortoise refer to Gua Gang, a reptile living only on land, while turtle refers to Gua Biển, the one living underwater. And the second famous relic of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám is the banyan tree. Banyan trees, cắt cây đa, and they not only witnessed the festivals and examinations during the feudal times, but they also continue to flourish. Feudal times, thời kỳ phong kiến. And another important word is flourish. Flourish means to develop quickly and become common. That is, tiếp tục phát triển, growing thickly and strongly until today. So we have just talked about the relics of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. They are the stelae, các tấm bia đá. They were engraved with top students' names and they were on the back of the giant tortoise. And the second relic is the banyan trees, các cây đa. So we have just talked about the functions and the relics. And now let's come to the last main idea of our lesson today, that is the values. The values of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. We all know that it is a famous cultural and historical site in Hanoi. Here we need to pay attention to two adjectives. The first one is cultural. Cultural means, how about historical? Here we have a matter that is how to distinguish between two adjectives, historic and historical. They are both adjectives and they have the same noun, which is history. However, their meanings are different. Now we will find out about each word in detail. The first word is historic, meaning important in history or marking a turning point or a certain milestone. I have some examples. Example 1. It is a historic moment. He told the journalist. So this moment is important in history. We can say like example 2, a historic meeting of the world leaders. Or a historic victory. So we just found out about historic. And how about historical? Historical means connected with the past, about people and events in the past. Historical, it is used for historical events and people. I have an example. I have been doing some historical research. Example 2, you must place these events in the historical context. So in short, when we refer to something that is historic, we emphasize its importance. It can be a milestone, or it can mark an important turning point in history, but historical simply refers to events in history. So I've just mentioned two values of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám, which are cultural and historical values. And the last value is that it is an example of well-preserved traditional Vietnamese architecture. In this sentence, we have the word well-preserved. It is an adjective and it means kept in good condition. And how about architecture? Architecture. It is a noun and its adjective is architectural. Well-preserved traditional architecture. We have just talked about the values of Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. They are cultural, architecture, and historical.